Dallas Mavericks advance to the second round of the NBA playoffs. They beat the Los Angeles Clippers. Luka gets past the team that has beaten him twice before. Kyrie Irving is just that guy. We'll talk about all that and more today. It's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks.
Mavericks, NBA champions. It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You're locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network, where we let it ride. Yeah. Still here at the AAC. Got the dub. Moving on. Thanks for being part of the show, making Locked On Mavs your first listen today. With the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day on any podcast platform. Like the video on YouTube. Comment anything below. Oh, man. Today, as always on a post game, the Vibes General himself. What you got for me, Slightly Biased?
Hey, man. Woo! It feels good. Let's soak it in, and then we're back to business. In the meantime, we'll take a sip of this.
You know what?
Non-sponsored beer.
I have one thing to say.
What? Standing on business.
Standing on business. The PJ
Look,
Washington
man.
poster. He's standing on it.
for a funeral. Came dressed for a funeral. This is a Gucci coat. If you're a listener, you really should tune into the YouTube. Gucci coat. I have Prada right here.
Just to see the coat. This is a Boss jacket.
Yeah, nice.
That's not an adjective. That's the brand.
This is a Saint Laurent sunglasses. Hey, the Locked On paychecks are doing me good.
Oh, today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. Go get Monopoly Go. Fast-paced. Lets you team up with friends. Do all kinds of stuff. Tournaments, things like that. Unique stickers for trading. Cool playing places. Things like that. Download Monopoly Go for free on Google Play or the App Store. Slightly Biased joining. We're going to talk about the Mavericks win against the Los Angeles Clippers. The series win, 114-101 in Game 6. And I just want to let it. The Dallas Mavericks get the win, and there were moments in this game where it felt like maybe it could slip away from the Mavericks, but there were many more moments and instances where it just felt like the Mavericks had this game from beginning to end in a lot of ways. If you look at the Mavs and look at the Clippers only had one lead. They led by 2 right before halftime. That was the only time the Clippers led in this whole game. And you got to start here because Luka had a good production game, didn't shoot the ball efficiently that well. And Kyrie Irving only had 2 points at halftime. 2 points at halftime. If you just looked at the box score, you'd be like, oh, Kyrie had 30, Luka had 28 with 13 assists. Like, oh, the stars showed up in this one. Yeah. But Kyrie Irving had 2 points at halftime. He had 26 in the second half. Kyrie Irving is now 13-0 in closeout games. When Kyrie Irving's team has the potential to close out a series, they have 3 wins. They need the 4th. He always gets the 4th every single time. 13-0. And this is why. He is a guy that can just turn it on at any given moment. He's the human torch for the Mavericks. I've been using that analogy all this whole end of the season here. Luka is Mr. Fantastic. He can do whatever you want him to do. He can fit whatever mold you need him to fit in. And Kyrie is the human torch, where at any moment he can just go. And if the Mavericks need some offense, and they desperately need it in this game at certain points, he can turn it on. And he did. 26 points in the second half. Absolutely masterful from him. And just some bonkers things we saw from him in this game.
I mean, that is an insane stat, by the way.
13-0.
There's no way that's not some historic feat. 13-0 in clinching games. Think about how insane that is.
Give him a chance.
When you can win a series, Kyrie Irving is 13-0. And it's just like you said, because it's just what Kyrie's done, not just in the postseason, but all season long, where he just feels out the game. And it's not, how many points did he have at halftime? 2?
2.
Two. But you watch the game and his impact was felt, right? He's flying around defensively. I mean, I have to give Kyrie so much props because I don't remember what game they made this adjustment, but him picking up James Harden, I mean, his defensive intensity in this series was incredible. Like, if you didn't know any better, because I think Kyrie's gotten this sort of reputation as being maybe a negative defender, which I
he's a small guard. He's like a 6'2" guard. So you just look at him as this small guard, then you just write him off, and it's not the case. And
that was like the big concern where it's like, oh, well, Luka and Kyrie defensively. When Kyrie's going and locked in, he is a very strong and solid defender. Like, I would even venture to say he's a positive on that end. And my Lord, that second half, man, some of the shots he was hitting. Not only is it, and this might be what some factors into that game clinching record, that 12-0, 13-0, is that some of those shots are so demoralizing. Yeah. Like when you're the other team and you're fighting for your life to stay alive, and Kyrie is putting the moves on PJ Tucker. And I thought PJ did a pretty good job.
Oh my gosh.
I thought he did a decent job staying in front, and Kyrie just dribbles it to the open corner, just a 4-point play, and it's just like a shotgun blast. Like, in that moment, it feels like, oh, we're not losing this game because this guy's on our team.
No, at that point, well, it was earlier I called game. I think it was like 9:30 left in the fourth quarter, and the Mavs went up by 20. I was like, oh, that's game. Like, the Clippers don't have enough offense to compete with this. The Clippers shot 8 of 31 from 3, 26% in this game. But, yeah, that play at 5:38 left in the fourth quarter when Kyrie crossed up PJ Tucker, crossed him up again, got in the corner, and took the three. I mean, that – and then he falls into the bench, and this is another thing we've seen from this Mavs team is the chemistry. This Mavs team with their chemistry, their camaraderie, everybody around, like, it was absolutely awesome to see everybody come around Kyrie and, like, punch him on the ground, and then, like, Jaden Hardy's, like, smacking five with him, is, like, excited and all that. And then, Kyrie goes and hits the free throw. It was just, like, the vibes all matched, and it all, like, worked together. And Kyrie was absolutely awesome in this second half, and just a great – and to your point about defense, he really did not want James Harden to have a good day.
No, I was wondering if they had a beef. They do not like each other. They do not. Kyrie does not like James Harden.
You can just tell in like the ways that if you're here like watching the games, you can tell in the ways that they don't make eye contact. You know, like if you know that if you hate somebody, like if Drake and Kendrick Lamar were in the same room right now, they're not making eye contact. Or maybe Kendrick is trying to make as much eye contact as possible, but like they're not making eye contact with each other. You know, it's like, oh, I'm over here, you're over here, kind of this thing and that thing. And man, you can just tell in some moments where you're like, these guys do not like each other. And so I think Kyrie was very motivated to defend really well against James Harden. And I thought an amazing Kyrie Irving game. And I said this after he had 40 in the game 4 loss. You don't have to worry about them wasting the Kyrie game. He can do this. He can do this at any moment, right? You're not like, oh, we just wasted the Kyrie game. That's the only one they're going to get. It's not the case. He can get one of those kind of whenever they want at a certain point because he has just become that good and he's able to just get his offense whenever they need him to.
Yeah, and I don't even know if this just feels like piling on here, but if you're Kyrie, it's just like, okay, I get blamed for everything wrong that happened with the Brooklyn Nets.
Yes.
And there's this guy who was on the team for 8 months, pretty much, in James Harden, who has demanded out and has had a bad situation in like each of his last 4 stops.
Yes.
So I think there is probably some like, hey man, like, I don't know why I got blamed for every single thing that went wrong there when you have demanded a trade, like what? Each of the last 4 seasons? Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, they've both been problems. Like, let's not pretend like Kyrie is completely blameless in all this.
I always thought the Kyrie stuff was unfair.
I mean,
he's thriving.
There are some unfair things, and there are some not unfair things, and there are things that Kyrie, you know. But this season, we've been waiting for a Kyrie thing to pop up, and it just hasn't, right? And honestly, James Harden one hasn't really come up either. But one of the James Harden things is that he shrinks in big playoff moments. And we saw it again. We saw it in Game 5, and we saw it in this one. James Harden, 5 of 16 from the field, missed all 6 of his threes. He did have 13 assists. He only had 1 turnover, so he distributed and, like, was really good on that end of the ball. But they needed him to score. They needed both him and Paul George to score, and they just did not come up in the moments when they needed them to, and Luka and Kyrie did. That's the difference. That's the difference in this game, because I think other than that, the supporting casts are, like, not that different. Clippers are always going to be a deeper team in general.
Yeah, agreed. No, this was always going to be a superstar series in a lot of ways. And Kyrie Irving was the best player in the series. I saw some takes today that was like James Harden was the best player in the series. No. Kyrie Irving was hands down the best player in the series. And before the series started, that was my big thing where I was like, what's Kyrie Irving going to be in the series? Is he going to be a top 3 player? If so, the Mavs will win the series, and it's not even going to be really up for debate. And that's exactly what we saw. Kyrie Irving, I thought, was the best player in the series. And it's just so incredible that he did all of that when your MVP is, clearly laboring and struggling and having one of his worst 3-point shooting stretches of his entire career, and a guy that you're used to just dominating, right? He's like, usually he absolutely dominates in the postseason, and it just wasn't that in the series. And Kyrie Irving, man, he deserves so much love and so much praise, and he's going to get all of that love and praise from this fan base. And on my screen,
Nick is back. Nick is back now. The AAC Wi-Fi is finally agreeing with me at this point. Yeah, they should, and they should shower Kyrie, and he should be given all the praise for this series because he was absolutely awesome. I think he was also. I think he was the best player too.
I don't even think it's up for debate.
Well, Luka did a lot of even as much as we talked about Luka struggling and all that. Like Luka put up a ton of numbers in this series.
Yeah.
Luka did not shoot the 3 ball well, but him from the mid range starting this game off really set a tone. Luka defensively, don't forget Game 2 and Game 3 when Luka was defending like an all defensive player at certain points, like just absolutely awesome.
It doesn't have to be like a battle or a war between the two.
No, we have to fight. We have to fight.
Kyrie
stands and the Luka stands are in a holy war that needs to be.
They are. It's a nasty. They'll write about this in textbooks.
It's an unholy war because it's on Twitter and it's in YouTube comments.
Yes, it's very unholy. It is very unholy. But no, like, look, Luka, his numbers I think will be deceiving in this series because
you'll just look at the counting stats. You're like, he was great.
Well, no, I'm saying his shooting numbers and stuff. Like, I think if you looked at that, you'll be like, oh, Luka, Luka's impact was felt every single game of the series, regardless of how well he was shooting or not. But it's not crazy to say Kyrie's the best player. He was the best player in this series, and that's why you trade for Kyrie Irving. You trade for like this all-time great offensive player to step up in these moments, and wow, he stepped up in a major way this series.
Absolutely, and shout out to him for stepping up in a way that there are some people that are doubting looking back at some of his past, like playoff experiences in Brooklyn and in Boston, where he wasn't that great the last couple of times. The last time he was really great was that finals run in with the Cavs. But him next to a star player like this that can handle the ball, that can set up, that can do all that, and like him being the secondary type guy has really empowered him to take over in some of these moments when they really need him to. And yeah, it's just been really awesome to watch Kyrie. So coming up, let's talk about some of the other things. The reasons why the Mavs won this game. I think defense is one of the biggest things. We have to talk about that, how the Mavericks defense really changed. Jason Kidd had a great plan and all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about that coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. We got to pause here, talk about Monopoly Go, because you can team up, and you can team up with friends, and you can play time tournaments and things like that where you work together, build up each other's boards. The more that you win together, the more awesome prizes that you win and all that. There's so much more to get in Monopoly Go. You can play by yourself, play with other people. You get unique stickers. You can trade with friends to complete albums for big prizes, things like that. Get cool prizes with pieces to travel the boards with. You get hilarious emojis that you can taunt your friends with if you want to do that and charge them rent and all that stuff at iconic properties. Monopoly Go has new and exciting everyday features changing all the time. Tournaments, challenges, things like that. Always new timed events on Monopoly Go. So download it on the App Store or Google Play. Just get your phone, download it, play it, see what you like about it. Try new things, try the time tournaments, things like that. Check out Monopoly Go on the Google Play or the App Store.
My first mate.
Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. We appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show and listening. We'll be continuing on throughout all the playoffs, and I'm going to be at most of the OKC Dallas games. I'm very excited. I'll definitely do a crossover with Rylan Stiles. He actually texted me. He texted me before the game was even done, and he said, "Get ready to learn Locked On Thunder crossover, buddy." Absolutely awesome. So we'll have that. Slightly and I will do episodes. We'll do episodes with Reggie and Dana and all that. So stick with us here on Locked On Mavs. All right, Slightly. The defense, I think, deserves some massive credit in this game. They held the Clippers to 101 points, 112 defensive rating for the Mavericks. This Mavericks defense held James Harden to just 16 points. Paul George is 18 points. I think Derrick Jones Jr. made Paul George's life miserable in this game at many points. This Mavs defense, it's really coming together in a lot of ways. I saw a lot of national people like Nekias Duncan and others like really praising the Mavericks defense. And that's when you know that you're at a spot where, people are starting to notice that this Mavericks defense is for real, and it's a championship level defense. I mean, that's where they are right now.
I agree 100% that it's a championship level defense. I'm happy you said that because your two best defenders on the court most times are two very lengthy defenders in Derrick Jones Jr. and PJ Washington, who can guard a wide range of matchups. I mean, we've seen Derrick Jones Jr. on guards, on wings. It does not matter who. And you have all of these guys on the court when they're locked in are very, very, very good team defenders as well. They're ready in the gaps. Their feet are set. They're like Kyrie had, I want to say 2 or 3. I don't know how many steals did Kyrie get credit for. 2 steals and 2 blocks. Wow. But it felt like more where he was just ready and help. And then like, a quick little dig and you poke the ball free or just made a driver pick up his dribble a little bit earlier than he wanted to. And then the Mavericks just did such a good job executing their defensive game plan where they knew which guys they were okay with shooting and they were disciplined with the closeouts and how aggressive they were at the closeouts, but getting out on the guys. And Paul George had a couple of open threes early in the first half where the Mavericks defense got caught slipping a little bit, but that's always going to happen. Yeah, always going to happen. And man, they're just flying around defensively. And it's just, they're so connected. It's great to see.
Nothing easy. I mean, the Zaza Pachulia, nothing
easy. We're going to game 1 of the OKC Thunder series.
We're going to game 1, baby. That's what they're doing. But that's their defense. Try to make everything difficult. At least try to make it difficult. Don't allow wide open shots in certain ways. And man, this Mavs defense is just playing really well. They're so connected. You can see Luka and Kyrie. And I think Luka and Kyrie deserve credit for the defense in a lot of ways because they're the ones that have set the tone. Hey, I'm defending. Hey, I'm the one that is one-on-one with Harden. I'm scoring on one end, and I'm on the other end, and I'm defending one-on-one the entire possession, right? So nobody else has any excuse to not pay attention, to fall asleep, to all that. I mean, yes, it's a playoff game, and yes, you should be awake and all that, but I think it really sets a tone when your two best players, the two guys that should be resting on defense, the guys that should be chilling and like gaining energy on defense and doing all that and hiding on certain guys. And yes, the Mavericks want favorable matchups for those guys, but they didn't shy away from anything. Luka on Paul George, Luka on Harden, Kyrie on Paul George, Kyrie on Harden. They did not care, and they were going to guard all the way through those possessions. And this Mavericks team, this defense too, there were several possessions in this game where, again, they couldn't finish. They couldn't get the rebound because of the way that it bounced or whatever, but the Clippers got 2 or 3 offensive rebounds, and the Mavericks fought through the possession. And I think that's the sign of a really good defense. Right. Is that they keep fighting and they don't give up on plays. This Mavericks team in the past, like the last couple of years, they just would give up on plays. And you'd go, oh, man. They just gave up on a play again. And now it feels like they're back. And, man, give credit to Jason Kidd for the defensive plan against the Clippers because it worked. They slowed him down. They couldn't in the first couple of games. They hit the 18 threes twice, but they figured out what it was. They sold out on those threes, and, man, it really worked these last couple of games.
Look, man, Kidd coached a great series, honestly. Yeah. And I just think with the matchups with Kawhi being hurt and stuff, like, you're supposed to win the series regardless. So, like, for sure. Your favorite. You or I could be the coach, and you should win the series. But did I stand on that?
If you were the coach and they should have won.
Yeah.
I mean, in that jacket, I mean, yeah.
Right. I'm on the sidelines. Luka, Kyrie, do whatever you guys want.
Yes, Neo. That is amazing coaching.
It's my favorite coach of all time.
Amazing. You're amazing.
Still has me blocked on Twitter. That doesn't matter, though.
Oh, I'm blocked slightly biased.
Yeah. Fully delusional.shop if you want a shirt. Oh. No. No, but look, if you go back, and it was game 5 where Kyrie picked up Harden. You go back and you watch that game. Kyrie is taking so much pride in defending. Even when he's not, he's screaming, he's yelling, he's communicating. And we were talking all season, we're like, who's going to be that guy on the Mavs defense who steps up and is the captain, is defense, it is like, barking out instructions and all of this in the middle of the floor. And Kyrie Irving being the guy who steps up. I really cannot gush about Kyrie Irving enough. He deserves so much praise for the series he just played. It was genuinely remarkable. And it's just left me. I think this is the best basketball he's maybe ever played, which is crazy to say because he's a for sure first ballot Hall of Famer. And it's just crazy to think that, because this is a guy who has hit one of the biggest shots in the history of the league and is a champion, is a multiple-time All-NBA guy and All-Star. But this version of Kyrie is just remarkable.
Touche.
Can you do something I don't know if you've ever done? Can you let it ride again?
Oh, you want to let it ride again?
I feel so good about
this.
This
Is
man.
Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Mavericks, NBA champions.
They're talking about Kyrie.
The Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
Wow, we've never let it ride mid-show. We've never had a mid-show let it
I'm
ride.
talking about Kyrie, and I'm just getting excited.
He was awesome, man. And this is probably the best basketball of his career. I mean, he had the 40-point game in the finals with LeBron. That's probably the peak of Kyrie.
Yeah.
He's had some good regular season moments, but he's also dealt with injuries, the suspension, little things like that here and there, not playing. And so this is the most. This obviously we went over the numbers during the regular season. This is the most games in a row he's played since 2018 or 17? What was that number?
Yeah,
I mean,
I think it was 2018.
Yeah, so he's playing the most. He is playing the best, and he's not old yet. He's 32. So he's like in his prime still, and it makes sense that his game lends itself to the smarter you get, the better you will be, right? Chris Paul kind of the same way, where you're a smaller guard, and so you have to just be as smart as possible. And they already came into the league smart, but they're only going to get smarter as it goes on. And so, man, he was absolutely awesome. I saw somebody say that he carried Luka. I don't know if I'd go that far, but he was great in this series. And also great. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say credit to Luka too, because those two, that was a big talking point all season, all off season. These two can't work together. Luka all season long has just been great in knowing when Kyrie's working, and now they found such a synergy where in the series, like Kyrie's drawing doubles while Luka's on the floor.
I know that's never happened.
I know, that's just insane, and like they just both feed off each other so incredibly well. So it's just kudos to both of them for making this maybe the best duo in the entire NBA.
I'm there with that. I mean, you start going through. Well, you can go through the rest of the guys still in the NBA, still in the playoffs. Celtics, 2 guys. I would pick Luka and Kyrie over them, right?
Easily, yeah.
You pick Jamal Murray and Jokic. That's a really tough one, because Jamal Murray in the playoffs just turns into an All NBA player, where in the regular season he's not even an All Star. Like,
crazy.
What happened? Yeah, you can go Rudy Gobert and Anthony Edwards. You can go Shea and Jalen Williams.
No.
We'll
Jalen see them Brunson. Soon.
You can go, hey, let's go Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and Dante DiVincenzo. Like all three of the Villanova guys.
A combination of all of their role players.
I would say it would probably be Brunson and Anunoby at this point because Randall's out. I think that they're probably the best duo left, unless Jamal Murray is going off in a game. And he's hurt right now, and he's dealing with that. I think this win is also great because Luka gets an extra day rest, which I think is great. They would have had to play Game 7 on Sunday, and they would have had to play Game 1 on Tuesday regardless of this, so that he gets some extra rest in this too, which I think is awesome. The travel is a lot less between Dallas and Oklahoma City. Man, do you want to just go into this OKC series real quick?
Yes. I'm very excited. I have several mega Thunder friends in my life.
This series, to me, I think either the Mavericks will destroy them or the Thunder will destroy the Mavericks. I don't think there's a middle ground in this, because it's either the Thunder just blew through the Pelicans, right? Mm-hmm. And either they take that momentum and they just run through the Mavericks and they're like, oh man, the Mavericks were just more hurt. Luka's injury gets worse or whatever. The Thunder are just really young and healthy and all that. They've played, their continuity is insane compared to the Mavericks. You think about the amount of minutes that those 5 have played compared to one of the Mavericks 5s. It's like 1,000 minutes to like 200. It's
right.
Insane. Or the Mavericks just look like, oh, this team is so much better than they thought, and a really good matchup against them. You got Lively and Gafford against Chet. That's a really good matchup and all that. I think it's like the Sun series where you just see like from 2022 where you just see blowouts on either side.
That's an interesting take because immediately my thoughts are if the Mavericks shoot like they did in this series, I think they're going to really struggle to win. Because this is a Thunder team that shoots threes well. They move the ball. I think you're going to have a harder time consistently holding them to 100 or sub 100 points like you did against this Clippers team. And it's nothing about your defense. It's just that's how good of an offense they are. And if I just struggle to see Luka having this bad of a shooting performance again over the course of a series.
I think we've said that every game, though. He can't shoot this bad. He can't shoot this bad. I mean, what did he go in this game? 1 of 10?
1 of 10.
It's like, okay, but the mid-range will be there for him and against OKC for sure. Like, they have good one-on-one defenders, but they don't have any big. They don't have any big that's going to be on him, so those mid-range shots will be there. And so hopefully he relies on that a little bit more. I don't know who's guarding Kyrie. Dort maybe, Dort will probably be on Luka.
Dort will be on Luka. Probably. That'd be interesting.
Jalen
if
or SGA.
Go Shea, but it would probably be J-Dub if I had to guess.
But I'm fascinated in Chet just destroyed Jonas Valanciunas, and I think Lively and Gafford. This is a series for Gafford. Like this series against the Clippers was not a series for Gafford. We knew that going in. I think this one is a series for Gafford, and I'm really interested to see how he plays in that series and how that matchup is between their one center and the Mavericks 2.
Yeah, and that's how the Mavericks want to play is with their rim running bigs out there having kind of a big role, and that just was not the case really in this series. Outside, like they started to get it going. In I thought game 3, the bigs were really involved. In the last 2 games, they were both really involved.
Gafford was really good in this game. What did he finish with? Gafford finished with 13 points, 6 rebounds, 4 on the offensive end. Yeah. He was oh my God. The dunk on Zubats. Oh my goodness. That was disgusting. That sent me back in my chair. There's a couple things in this game that just completely threw me. Daniel Gafford on Zubats' head. That was in the third quarter. The Kyrie play against PJ Tucker we talked about. The Dante Exum finish with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. I was just that one just made me excited because I was like, there are signs of life for Dante. I think they'll need him in that Thunder series. Like I don't think that they get away with the amount of offense they had to the small amount of offense they could create in this series. I think that they'll have to have a little more.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. They're going to have more ball handlers out there, and that obviously means Dante Exum is going to have a good series. I want to say just a series, just to be playable, Dante. Like Dante, right. Just be playable. Not even a good series where we're like, oh, Dante was really good. Oh, Dante was really playable. That's all I want from it. That's all I want. We were able to have 2 ball handlers or 3 ball handlers on the floor at the same time, and it really helped. That would be nice
for sure. That's what they need because they don't have that in anybody else.
I want to say, and this might sound stupid, but this is the type of stuff that I think about and care about, is the signs of good teams, right? In closeout games like this, can you just force the other team into submission almost? Like just, you never really know with closeout games because it feels like sometimes you can take a 10-point lead and the other team's like, man, I'm done. Like I'm done with this series. I'm ready to go home. But the Clippers fought back to their credit. And a lot of that was the Mavericks just missing shots in the second quarter over and over and over again.
Well, they still didn't shoot well from 3.
Yeah, they didn't shoot well from 3 in this game. They scored 18 points in the second quarter. Like, it was really bad. The Lukai backcourt was like 1 of 9 or something from the field. But the third quarter came, and man, it was that Gafford dunk. The Kyrie 4-point play was in the fourth quarter. But those are the plays where it's like you see it and you're like, oh, yeah, this team means business. Like the plays where the crowd's going crazy, and it's just so demoralizing. You're trying to save your season, and Gafford hammers that home, and he's screaming, and Kyrie hits that shot, and the bench is going crazy. Like, those are all the markings of a great team. It sounds stupid, but it's a lot of times you can just look at the vibes, and they matter.
The vibes do matter. The play style matters for sure. The vibes matter, but there was another moment in this game that I do want to talk about when you talk about vibes. So, deep into the fourth quarter, game's pretty much done. Like, the Clippers aren't going to win this. Westbrook is standing up away from their bench and near the baseline. Actually, like right here. He's standing down there right in the corner, and he's going at it with a fan. I mean, how many times numerous times we've seen this from Westbrook over and over again. He's yelling at a fan. There's security around him. He's like telling the fan to stop doing whatever they're doing. And then there's this group of fans, these 4 guys that have been starting the Westbrook chant all game. They had been trying. There's these 4 guys. They were in section. They're in section 121, I think. Every single time Westbrook got the ball, they tried to start the Westbrook chant, and they got it a couple times going. And Westbrook is going at this fan on the baseline corner, and all of a sudden they get the Westbrook chant start going, and it's loud, and everyone in that area started going Westbrook, Westbrook, and I posted the video at Nick Van Exel on Twitter, and Westbrook turns around and he just gives like the fist pump at them and like smiles at them and turns around. And I don't know if he thought that they were saying Westbrook and that they were like just like acknowledging his greatness or not.
There's no way he thought that.
He turns around and acknowledges the Westbrook chant, and I was cracking up.
Man, it's a shame for Brody because I loved Russell Westbrook throughout his career.
He was so bad.
He was atrocious in this series. And I had like a thought in my mind where like there's a universe where Russ has like a good series and the energy he brings off the bench like really impacts the game and is a huge swing factor for them. But man, he was God bless him, MVP in the league, a Hall of Famer, all of this. He was so
there's
bad.
Dana Larson. Dana!
Locked on reunion.
I was wrong about two things about this series. I thought Westbrook would have an impact in some way because I just thought that he would. His transition play and all that would be great. But then I thought Zubats wouldn't be as effective. Zubats was awesome. Like in the same way that Westbrook was terrible, Zubats was way better than I expected. And so I was wrong about those two players specifically. I didn't make any guesses about Kawhi because who knew?
I mean, the Mavericks like dug deep and won a series that did not go the direction that I think every person talking about the series thought it would go. Where like Luka will play Zubats off the floor and Luka will be the best player in the series. And the Mavs, like usually typically throughout history, they need to shoot well to win games. But anyone who's watched this team over the last few months knew that was not the case for this team anymore. And they just dug deep and won defensively. I mean, that's literally it. That's how they won this series is by playing remarkable defense. And we've said it all series long. Outside of 2 quarters, the Mavericks were comfortably better than the Clippers.
Were the better team.
Comfortably. And of course, there's no Kawhi, so there's all of that. But, Luke was clearly not even close to 100%. So I don't want to say it's a wash, but you have to add some context to that. But
well, they were favored. They were the better team. So you don't feel bad about that. They did not play well they played terribly in 2 quarters of this whole series.
Horribly.
And that I think was the big difference. And so now, the vibes slightly, I think the vibes are.
It's great. It's great, dude. Dude, it's great.
The vibes
it's
are.
Great. It's great, broski. Bro, name it. It's great. It's great. It's great, bro. It's great. It's great. It's great. This life's great, bro. I have no complaints. I don't.
Wow. What a long ways we've come. Now LeBron, future former Mav, LeBron is all over Twitter.
Tweeted about Kyrie again during the game.
I'm telling you guys, LeBron's playing with the Mavericks at some point in his career.
Bronny with the 58th pick with the Adam Silver was in the building tonight. I saw him. I walked by him.
With the 58th pick in the NBA draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Bronny James, USC. With him, LeBron James will be traded to the Mavericks.
It's funny because everyone
wow, is he allowed to do that?
Yeah, we're breaking the rules for Bron. But anytime people are like, you would actually want that? I'm like, yes, I think that would be awesome and hilarious if LeBron was on the Mavericks.
I would only want it just so I could call Isaac after every single Mavericks game to see if he his brain was broken yet, because he hates LeBron with every fiber of his being.
I mean, LeBron as your 3rd best player as the 3? Yeah. Come on, that would be sick.
Dude, imagine LeBron in the Derrick Jones Jr. role.
That's what I'm saying. That would be awesome.
There's lots of summer to talk about that. We're very excited. But man, the Mavs get the win. We double let it ride in this game. So everybody that came up to me at the game that said you better let it ride, we did. We did it twice in this one. And we'll be back all throughout. We'll continue to do episodes. I'll do episodes with Rylan Stiles, Locked On Thunder. We'll do preview episodes. And then the series is starting on Tuesday. I mean, we don't have that much time off.
Yeah.
It's coming right back for us. So there you go, guys. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.
Boom. Get well soon, Maxi Kleba.
Oh, Maxi. Lively took a hard fall. Let it